This is Rob Stone from Fox Sports.
This is Jock and Graff.
Hi, I'm Neil Collins.
You are listening to the Unused Substitutes.
The Unused Substitutes.
And you're listening to the Unused Substitutes.
Get off the pitch!
Hey there, Little Red Riding Hood, I got a problem that is complicated. Going through changes and I just can't ignore the signs. Hear them now, it's so loud it hurts. Hear me growl, hear me howl when the full moon is out.
Off the row, ball's gonna bounce down a three in the box. Bicycle kick! Goal! Rowdies! What a play! What a shot! And it's 1-0 Rowdies!
Good evening, everybody. You're listening to another episode of the Unused Substitutes, live on Radio St. Pete, part of the Beautiful Game Network, and presented by Roughneck Scarves.
This is Stephen Cundiff, your host. Not alone this week, thankfully. I am joined by, once again, the founder, Matthew. How are you doing tonight, my friend?
I have returned to make this week's show less enjoyable and of lower quality than last week's, which I thought was fantastic. Hats off to you and Lizzie, who did a great job. I don't know if you saw Dan's post on Facebook, but I had gotten in touch with him on DM, and I'm like, dude, this is the first time in 5 years it's neither of us on the show that night. And it kind of was just like, ooh, hadn't thought about that. That's we both, it's like our little baby is all grown up, doesn't need us anymore.
Hey, no, you listen here. You are not dropping this show off on my lap. That is not going to happen, sir.
You don't have like the little sign out front, like the fire stations have, where you can drop the baby off. You don't have a, leave your podcast at my door kind of situation going on there.
No, don't get me wrong. It was a lot of fun. That was really nerve-wracking. Of course, I'm slapping my head every 5 minutes re-listening to that episode because of all of the stupid phrases and things I kept repeating, and I'm just stupid. Anyways, it was fun, though. I had fun. Hopefully we don't have to do that very often.
Well, it's time I should break some news. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right?
All right, so, but honestly, I wish I could break some news because that would mean there would be a lot of news to talk about, which we don't have this week, but I wanted to come back, and I missed everybody last week as I was it last week or 2 weeks ago?
Let's see here. You would have been, actually, I think you would have technically been 3 weeks.
No, because it's
2 weeks. It all blurs together.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's all fun and games.
I was in Tennessee at one point, and then I was yeah, okay. But we're currently back. Did we mention our executive producer tonight already?
No, we have not. Tonight's executive producer, we do want to say thank you, of course. Mike Pendleton, our fun friend, Fat Deuce on Twitter, is, of course, our executive producer. We do appreciate all the support. As he is a patron, we do appreciate all the support he and all of our patrons do provide to us every single month.
You know what I did forget to do, though, was get in touch with him and see if he had any questions he wanted to ask our interview subject. I'll get him in on the next one we do. Maybe we'll have another one next week.
Well, the Rowdies have been in camp for like a week, so our heads aren't even screwed in straight yet either. So we're all good.
You know what else we haven't done, and I've thought about this like the last 2 or 3 shows right after we're done, and I haven't mentioned it. We never picked a winner for the stadium print either. Yeah. So we're gonna continue to not do that tonight, but I'm gonna go back and organize the names and everything, and we will announce a winner next week. I've had a couple people ask me, and I keep forgetting to come back and do it during the show. So we will do it next week. I'll go back and make sure we have everyone's name as who qualified, and we'll pick one. We'll pick one on air.
So if you've been living under a rock for the last couple of years, then this is a great introduction into the idea of what I like to refer to as Technical Issues FC podcast, because I'm just going to label forgetting this week after week as just another technical issue you can put in the queue of problems. We'll get our tech support on it. We'll have them remind us to do a random draw.
So by living under a rock, you mean the Orlando's training field?
No, by living under a rock, I think it's more appropriate to be under Outer Miami's training field. I think that would be at this point.
They've probably got. Did you see the little interaction between Columbus and Orlando like last weekend, maybe, or was it last week?
Yes. Well, that would be more under if we've been living under sand. Yes. The rag on the joke, of course, is Columbus and Orlando are supposed to train together and do a little scrimmage and fun things that you do in off season when you're in town. And Orlando's training pitch was full of sand holes for divots that they were clearing, which, let's face it, I mean, if you are in lawn maintenance, especially for fields, I mean, that's what you're supposed to do. But yeah, you're not playing on that. That's trash. Come on. I mean, just another example of a trash organization pulling a trash move because they are trash.
So number one,
I said it.
Now we know why they wanted a closed door friendly. Number two, that gave Slugger a run for its money. And
it honestly, it reminded me a lot of what Charleston Battery Stadium looked like after all those crazy rainstorms and all the stuff that Charleston dealt with. That's what it was like.
Number three, meanwhile in St. Pete, Thierry Henry is pinging in shots to from the corner into the goal off of wet turf because that's how we keep it here in Tampa Bay. Because
legends play here, right? Can we just steal that tagline? We just steal that tagline. Al Lang Stadium, legends play here. I think that would be sufficient. I think we just use that.
Speaking of things going on in Tampa Bay, does anyone have any clue why Men in Blazers are here?
That's a great question. No, I hadn't heard anything about that until I saw the "Hey Tampa Bay, what's new for dinner?" And everybody's like, "Yeah, it depends on which side of the bay you're on."
I told him to come down here. I'd make it. I've got some leftover burgers from last night. I could heat it up.
Like, are they just driving through for an interview in Miami, or are they actually like? It makes me wonder. Like, are they just like tagging it because they were driving through, or I wonder if they're actually.
I mean, it was 7 hours ago, and they said, "Where do we eat dinner?" So obviously they were going to be around for a while. Plus, if you're going to Miami, why don't you just fly to Miami?
Hey, it's social media management. Sometimes you just tag things to tag it and cause discussion because you're smart, and that's what social media people do, which is why I'm not great because I'm not on social media enough and I don't create enough buzz. That's why I'm on this. That's why I'm on this little podcast, because I enjoy it. It's fun.
By the way, I mentioned like 2 weeks ago that I would do this before I realized I wasn't going to be on the show last week, but I am wearing my we'll get a screenshot of it so I can prove it. I'm wearing my Himarshi FC T-shirt.
Keeping the spirit of the Strikers alive.
That was really cool how they were able to. They were looking for like $1,500 or something and got it in less than 24 hours.
Yeah, that was a totally cool little story. So yeah, if you didn't hear about this, a lot of the old Striker fans for the modern day team, after we, do we call it stole? Can we just say we stole their logo? I mean, I'm not, or their brand identity. Like, would that be appropriate?
It was. I mean, technically, it was at auction for very little money.
After we kind of forced it to happen, I don't know. I kind of want to be the bad guy on this a little bit and just say we stole the brand, we stole their identity, and I'm not afraid to say that.
I just want some letterhead paper if they have any left over. So, Bill, if you're out there, Bill, we know you still listen. If you've got some cases of Fort Lauderdale Strikers letterhead, get in touch. Slide in the DMs. I'll give you my address. I'd like some paper.
Oh, I'm sure this is Bill's favorite show. I love it. Hi, Bill. Anyways, no. So if you don't
Bill,
know
I'm
the
wearing
story,
red. Don't be mad.
So if you don't know the story, Hammerschmidt FC is basically an amateur team that's run by the Strikers fans. Basically, it's like a crowd-funded summer league team type of deal. And they were running short on supporters for being able to fund the core aspects of running, an organization like that. And put out a little plea on Twitter. Hey, guys, this is where we're at. This is where we need to be. Come and help us. And I think it was in about 24 hours or something like that, they had raised basically all the money they needed to. Or it might have been a couple days. But either way, it was a ridiculous short amount of time. Yeah, it was a ridiculous short amount of time where the soccer community, a couple of people tagged it, retweeted it, and all of a sudden it blew up and they raised everything they needed. So as fun as it is to be in a nice, comfortable position up here in beautiful Tampa Bay, where we've got this amazing soccer team with a great venue and support staff that we don't know what to do with, it was good. I felt happy for the guys down there in Fort Lauderdale who are supporting a true identity of Fort Lauderdale type team and not, outer Miami.
All right, so let's get into it. Really, I guess it's the biggest news. We'll talk about some other stuff going on. We have Open Cup info, and we know that we will be hosting either the Villages or FC. Was it South Georgia Tormenta 2 FC, their reserve team, on April 7th. Tuesday night, if I remember correctly. Let me double check. It's almost like I'm at a computer that has a calendar right here in front of me. Tuesday night, April 7th at Al Lang. The game between the two of them to determine who is coming here to be brutally sacrificed to the Open Cup gods. It will be on March 25th at the Villages Soccer Complex. 25th, I believe, is another. Actually, that's a Wednesday night, so. I actually saw some Rowdies fans said they were going to maybe go up there and, number one, cheer for one side or the other, or just to go see what's going to happen down here. But it's getting close. We're going to have at least one home game this year. We won't have to temporarily relocate the mob behind the goal because the standing section will be done by that point, and we can have some fun.
And it's good because it's basically what we predicted last week on the show. Because again, the show that we recorded last week was the day before, because we recorded on a Tuesday night, so we were not airing live a week ago. But this was the predicted matchup. This is what we thought we were going to end up getting. Though again, with Open Cup, it's never a guarantee. You don't know who you're going to get. But we did successfully, thankfully, everything worked out that ended up being our matchup. What's important about this, though, is the round 3 determination on that. I got to double check when we actually find out. This was something it's funny because it's on the schedule and I didn't think about actually locating the date of the draw of what the MLS matchup is. Because again, something everybody has been harping on a bit here is we really, really can't wait for the chance to play Orlando again. So, yeah, what we're looking at here is third round draw is conducted on April 10th. So, and then the games are actually going to be played between the 21st and 23rd, and that's where you might see the Rowdies playing against potentially Orlando. And that would make sense based on all the way the pairings work, way where the matchups work. It makes a lot of sense. You beat Villages or South Tormenta, which we host, so we better beat them because it'd be ridiculous to lose against them. But we have to win that game, and then there's a really, 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 really strong chance we'll play Orlando in the next round later in April.
So I don't want to jump too much into it because I haven't really read up a whole lot about it. But one of the things when they reformatted Open Cup a couple seasons ago was that they were going to try and keep everything geographically until you got to a certain point, and then you got sorted into the groups and the brackets. But now it seems like there are a couple USL teams, at least I saw fans griping because they are some of them are going like across the country for their second round game.
Yes, and that was the thing though about, and this was something we touched on, because for those that don't follow, a really great source for Open Cup news, because he basically reports on it year round, and it's one of the more active social media accounts out there, quite frankly, and that is the cup.us. And what's important about Josh Hakala and his work with the Open Cup and its history, he had pointed out, he had done kind of a mock draft of what the second round would look like. What are some of the potential matchups? And we discussed this last week. There were two teams that had no nearby amateur matchups that were really close or easily made sense. So everybody knew going into this that somebody was going to draw a short straw. And that was why, like with the Rowdies, it wasn't necessarily guaranteed that we would get, the matchup we did, because we are living in a city, in a region that has a really great airport, quite frankly, that has really good connections. And so our ability to travel to a lot of weird places is actually something that can happen. That's why we've had Pittsburgh and Columbus and Portland and the Seattle matchup. That's why we've had North Texas, so like half of the Open Cups that we've played in, we've been matched up with some weird opponents that aren't necessarily the geographically closest. And sometimes that's because of travel, considerations. So yeah, I can understand the gripe, but we all knew going into this, people that are paying attention all knew that this was something that could potentially occur. So for those of you that are not on a, ability of watching, which is everybody, because we haven't actually turned this on for live viewing, streaming things yet. Matt is currently looking at me through a computer screen with a really ugly face on his head, like he just saw a dead body and it's like decomposing nastily in some way.
Am I looking eastwards towards Orlando? No, but kind of. So MLS just tweeted out, and we've all seen the rumors and the blurry photos and stuff of their 2020 kits with the giant 3 stripes on the shoulders for everyone. They just tweeted out like the whole. I guess these are all the home kits. There are some really, really just bad ones.
Yeah.
Oh God. Like some look like, I kind of like Columbus's with the design on it. The Cincy one that a lot of fans were really said they were going to be really mad if that was their shirt. Well, that's their shirt.
That's their shirt.
Man, like it's going to sound like we're just like ripping on, like I'm ripping on Cincy some more, which I usually do like in jest. But they went through last year where they were their first year in MLS where they had to wear the replica jerseys because there wasn't enough time to get something done. And then this year's shirt, like I'm still not a fan of their revamped crest when they joined MLS. No one's like, look how good it got for Minnesota when they jumped. Cincinnati's been the exact opposite. The way that their merchandise, their crest, everything has kind of been handled, and I feel bad for those guys.
So, I funny enough, again, plugging away random, stuff here. Did you see that, like, literally today on The Athletic, Pablo Maurer, who goes by MLSist on Twitter, he did a big article on the designing process of MLS jerseys. And he did this huge deep dive on The Athletic. I think that article literally posted today.
I'll have to check it out. I hadn't had a chance to see it yet.
And a lot of the reactions I've had are just headbanging against a wall of, I cannot believe this is actually the process that some of these jerseys are designed and created with. I'm looking through the jerseys that were just posted and tweeted about, and I'm just like, these are pretty much all really just terrible.
There's a couple that are, I kind of like SKC's. Atlanta's seems really bland for what and Atlanta's kind of had a traditional look, but this seems to be kind of, especially for a team that refers to themselves as the 5 stripes, and then they've got a jersey with 3 stripes in the shoulder, and that's the only stripes they have. Like, there's a lot of just DC's looks
templates.
Just like a DC jersey. Yeah, it's.
All I can say is I hate templates. That's it. I mean, that's just the final answer. I hate templates. I hate everybody having to have a 3 stripe on their shoulder.
Yeah.
It just come on.
And someone, I think it was Hercules Gomez, or maybe yesterday, posted back like I'm tired of when they call them like a tribute or an homage. No, you just found a design from a couple it was a U.S. jersey from years ago, and like it looked okay for the 80s, early 90s, maybe mid 90s when it was, but not now.
Now, that being said, if we the counter argument to this from a design perspective, and of course this is more of the corporate thinking behind design perspective, I'm sure, is at this point, though, if every MLS jersey has that 3 stripe on a shoulder, then everybody in the world eventually, hypothetically or whatever, would know as soon as they see a jersey of one of these, designs, they might not necessarily know the team, but they will almost certainly recognize the league. So from a corporate branding perspective, I get why there is an argument to be made about having like the same kind of look throughout the league when it comes to that. Something that would be a bit more iconic, because I think that might be some of the trend here. I'm just not a super big fan of it. I mean, I kind of get it, but I don't like it.
Yeah.
Like,
luckily,
build the individual brands. Why are you... I mean, I get the league perspective, but I would rather build the individual brands and actually make them worthy of themselves, let alone just the league and the corporation as a whole.
I like looking at all of them and thinking, at least we don't have to wear that this year.
That's true.
All right.
That is
true. Stephen, I don't want this to get lost in everything else in the bants and the schedules and everything. We have a new signing.
We do have a new signing. So, announced this week, we have a new 3rd goalkeeper on the roster. So, joining Robinson and joining Lauro, we have Ian McGrane. He's a goalkeeper who has been playing with AFC Ann Arbor and Stumptown Athletic along with FC Miami City, SC United Bantams. Basically, he's bounced around to a lot of different like summer college type team situations as far as that's concerned. But he has played a lot of his collegiate ball at University of South Carolina. He is a Pennsylvania native, and he is a kid. This is absolutely just a depth signing. It's a 1-year deal, from what we understand. I'm not sure if there's an option attached to that or not, but it is not a multi-year type of thing automatically. There's no doubt about it. I don't think this is somebody that's going to be pushing, certainly not Lauro. I don't think he's even pushing Robinson as a second starter. I think this is more of a depth signing of a kid that we just needed to put on the roster that, if he pans out, we might sign him for another year.
Well,
type of deal.
This is obviously tied directly to the new head of scouting, which is I can't think of his name on the top of my head, but he's the AFC Ann Arbor head coach.
Yes.
But also runs kind of combines and showcases in the Midwest. So we might start to see some of their talent getting funneled here for either a look, for development, for possibly
that would make
moves
sense.
to either like an MLS Academy side or even reserve teams in here. So that's going to be part of that relationship as well. So welcome, Ian. We'll have to try and get him on the show at some point and talk about some stuff. Speaking of signings, we've got our first.
Speaking of getting people on the show. We've got our first player interview of the year. We're going to try and get all the new guys on at some point, whether it's on a weeknight or if we. I'm sure we'll do another thing from the kickoff party whenever that comes about. But we managed to get a hold of Lewis Hilton. Jake sat down with him earlier today and talked about it a little bit. And Jake does great interviews, and I don't want to say that I'm not trying to imply this one's not good, but I absolutely love the little intro and outro music he put into it, which is like
a bit from Kicking the Grass, but kind of like slowed down and sounds like it was on a church organ or something.
Yeah, he produced his own segment. It's about a 15-minute interview, and he didn't just record like a little interview questionnaire. He produced, he edits a little bit of music into here. It's great. I love it. It's amazing.
All right, so let's get this playing. It's about like 15, 16 minutes, and we'll come back, do some league news, and wrap up.
Hi, Jake. How you doing?
Lewis, I'm great, man. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm great. Thanks.
Great. I'm looking forward to talking to you. A lot of new faces this year. We got to start getting to know everybody.
Yeah, it's a good group of new guys, and yeah, it's same for me. I only knew Jan really coming into it, so yeah, still getting used to everyone as well. So
Right on. Yeah. So I just want to start by asking about the closed door match you guys had over the weekend. Without divulging too much, 'cause I know you can't, but just give me your impression on how things went for you out there, how it felt to be out there. I mean, I'm sure it's nice just to be out there building that chemistry with the guys. First of all.
yeah, no, it was fantastic to be back playing again. The off season is I think it's about 3 months, but it feels a lot longer than that, and you spend most of that time training by yourself. And I was back home in England, just training by myself in the gym. So to be back out playing as part of a team again is just a fantastic feeling that I've been waiting for the whole off season. So it was great to be back out there. And the game itself, there was some good parts, and then obviously it was, like I said, a first game for everyone in a long time. So obviously some rusty parts and a lot of new faces getting used to the system and how Neil wants us to play. So there's still a lot of things for us to work on, and it's always difficult as well playing against a group of players that are kind of out to prove a point against a professional team. So they made it difficult and gave us a good game, but it was a good first game to get some minutes for everyone, and it's a good starting point to build on from there. So
Great, yeah. So after the Rowdies season ended, we kind of heard the first rumblings that we heard about signings was that they had secured somebody from St. Louis, and that was like the first signing that they went for and finalized. And then we come to find out that was you. And so I'm just curious what this process was like for you of deciding on Tampa Bay and how quickly it all came together.
yeah, so pretty much as soon as my season was done with St. Louis, I started looking at what my options would be for this year, and Neil got in contact, and from the conversations that I had with him, and obviously I've been down here as an opposing player a few times. So and coming down here, it's just like you see the facilities, you see the location, you see the team that they were last year, and it was something that I wanted to be a part of. And the conversations with Neil matched my views on how I want to play the game and how ambitious he is as a coach, and I'm ambitious as a player. So I felt like it was the right environment for me to come and join, and hopefully it's going to pay off to be the right decision.
Right. So for fans who may not be so familiar with you from your time in St. Louis or Charlotte as well, can you just maybe give a little description of maybe your style of play and what you think you offer to the team?
Yeah. So I like to. So I'm a centre midfielder. I like to get on the ball and help the team maintain possession, break teams down, finding forward passes and switching the play. And I think I like to hold myself to a high level of work rate. I try to give everything I got every single game, every single training session. So yeah, just try and work as hard as I can, break up play and try and get on the score sheet here and there and create goals and hopefully help the team from set pieces as well. So yeah, I'd say that's roughly around what my game would be.
Yeah. So I want to go back a little bit to your move to the U.S. When you started up at college in Georgia. What went into that decision at that time for you, and how did that opportunity present itself?
Yeah, so it was back in 2012 when I first came out here. Obviously, the dream as a young footballer or soccer player growing up in England is to play as a professional in England. But yeah, there's a few reasons why that didn't work out growing up, and I exhausted all my options in England. And I was approached by like a company that helps players place out in like English players place in university and college out in America, and I thought it'd be a good option. So I went to a few showcases, and a coach, Mark McKeever at Young Harris College, he wanted to bring me in, and it was an opportunity to keep playing football full time as well as get a degree. So it was a fantastic option for me at the time. Obviously, I wanted to be a professional, but that is a pretty good second choice, to be honest. And I loved every single minute of my time at Young Harris College as well. And ultimately, I still was able to achieve the dream of playing full time as well. So,
yeah. Did you know anyone over here in the U.S. when you made that move? It's a big move for a young guy to make.
Yeah, no, I didn't know anyone. So yeah, I was 18 at the time. I just had a conversation with the head coach, Mark McKeever, and I was just like, yeah, this is the guy I want to play for. I had no idea where Young Harris was or the state of Georgia or what I was getting into, to be honest. So yeah, it was a massive gamble, but it turned out I loved every minute of it, and yeah, we had a good team and fantastic coach and a really good group of guys and lifelong friends made there. So yeah, it was a fantastic decision, but yeah, it was a massive gamble. I really didn't know what I was getting myself into, to be honest.
Yeah, you have to give some pointers to Jordan Doherty, although he's a little bit more experienced now that it's his second year over here.
Yeah. No, I haven't met Jordan yet. I think he arrives this week.
Okay.
But we've had Louis Lomas, who's an English lad on loan from Norwich. So he's only young, and I think this is his first time out here. So yeah, I've helped him out a little bit with the adjustment. But there's such a good group of guys here. It's not hard for a young guy to come and join this team. There's so many good guys here. It's really easy to kind of settle into.
Yeah. So you didn't know anybody when you came over. Did you have any maybe like expectations of what the level of soccer would be, or did you just kind of go in blind? And what did you make it when you first got over here?
Yeah, I didn't know too much, to be honest. Yeah, and there was quite a few like things that kind of took me off guard. I'd probably say the weather climate was hit me pretty hard when I first came out in August. It was pretty hot compared to what it was in England. And then the college season being like 3 months long and you're playing 25 games in 3 months, that was pretty crazy. And also like that every game goes to overtime. I think the first time it and I didn't realize that it's like golden goal as well in college. So I think the first time we went to overtime and we scored, I was like running back to the halfway line. I was like, what? I didn't know why everyone was celebrating so much. But yeah, there was a few things, and then like the countdown clock in college, that's something different as well. But yeah, no, there was quite a lot of other, like there was guys from all over the world in our college team, and the coach is from Scotland, so there was a lot of guys in the same boat as me, so it made the transition pretty easy, to be honest.
Scottish coach, so you don't need a translator to understand Neil then.
Well, yeah, I've been around a fair few Scottish coaches, but yeah, I still struggle at times with Neil, to be honest.
I think everyone does, to be honest.
Yeah.
That's all right. Yeah. So also during your time in college, I saw that you spent a couple of seasons in Ocala. So you have like a little small Rowdies connection too with former Rowdies assistant Shane Roberts. How important were those couple of seasons in Ocala to your development, you think?
Yeah, no, it was great. Shane was brilliant for me from the 2 summers that I was down there. We had a really good team. We got to like the national semi-final the 2 years I was there, and it was a great opportunity for me to keep playing throughout the summer and play with guys that are like in the same position as me. We're all kind of working hard to try and hopefully once we graduate to play professionally. So it was a good environment to be in, and yeah, Shane really helped me those 2 summers and helping my development as well. So it was great.
So the USL has gone through a lot of like evolution since you've come over to the US about 7 or so years ago now. I mean, it was really just getting into its growth stage back then. What's it been like for you to watch all the changes like USL and US soccer in general has gone through, especially USL now forming like all these different lower leagues to help develop younger players?
Yeah, no, it is grown massively. From even when I graduated in 2015, the opportunities that were there for me compared to what it is for guys now graduating, it's just like there's so many opportunities. There's more teams. I feel like there's better facilities. The financial backing's probably better. There's a new league for guys. So I mean, there's just more opportunities, and like you see every year the facilities are improving every single season, and yeah, I feel like it's a great time to be involved in soccer in this country.
So you were a young kid growing up in England. Obviously, the dream, like you said, was to play professionally over there. Do you still have little hopes of doing that someday? Are you happy with the way things are going over here stateside?
Yeah, I don't think about that too much. I just try and focus on what I'm doing right now. But ultimately, I'm not against any opportunity that might come up in the future. But I'm happy where I am now, and I'm excited to have a good season this year, and then whatever happens in the future, I can deal with that when that comes, I suppose.
Right. Yeah, of course. So I'll close out with this one. Do you have maybe a favorite memory or moments from your soccer career?
I'd say last year we had a really good run in the Open Cup. We beat Chicago Fire, and then we beat FC Cincinnati, and then we went and played Atlanta United away in the quarterfinal, and that was a really good experience because Atlanta played like probably the strongest team they could have played, and they were really good. It was kind of eye-opening to see what the high level is in this country, because obviously Atlanta are probably one of the top teams in the MLS, and to play against some of those guys was a really good opportunity. Really enjoyed it, and obviously they got a good fan base there as well, so it was a really good experience playing there, and obviously beating the 2 other MLS teams as well was a fantastic feeling.
Yeah, of course. I know the I know Rowdies fans were definitely envious of you guys on that cup run. I think we're all pretty eager for the Rowdies to make another deep cup run because we got a taste. I don't know if you're aware, we got a taste a while ago. I think it was 2012. We beat the Sounders at Al Lang, and ever since then,
All right.
Rowdies fans, they want more.
Yeah, well, I would say you guys may have been envious at that point, but I can't say it helped our league form at all, and we ended up not making the playoffs. So sure. I was sat at home watching the Rowdies in the playoffs. So I was certainly envious at that point. So, but yeah, it was a fantastic run and really good experience, but ultimately I think it probably hurt us in the long run with our league form, and we ended up finishing 11th. So yeah, it's a difficult balance to try and maintain the high level in each competition that you play in. So
yeah, definitely, especially at the the lower leagues when you're going up against the Atlanta Uniteds of the world, and you're dealing with a packed schedule yourself, and you don't have the same depth as them. It's a tough balance.
Yeah, no, definitely.
All right, Lewis, thanks a lot for your time, and looking forward to seeing you out there on the field this year.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, thanks for having me on, Jake.
So shout out to Jake for having time in the schedule to do that today, and to Lewis. It was a great interview, I thought. Stephen, I know we got a couple things we're going to talk about coming out of this interview. What are your thoughts?
First of all, thank you, Jake, for getting that opportunity there for us to be able to handle that. I will take a stabbing joke and say that I thought the Geralt of Rivera impression on the was awesome. It was actually spot on because it was a perfect transition there. No, it was fun. That was a great interview. I loved it. So much was said. It was great because getting into the minds of some of the players and their thoughts on some of these topics that we debate all the time, because I know we're going to talk about this in a second here. Things like the Open Cup, of course. Things like player development. We've heard, we had Jochen Graf here at the beginning of the offseason talking about his experience going overseas and trying to test the waters out there. Getting somebody like a Lewis Hilton coming over here from England as a growing experience, and coming over here and seeing how some of those culture shocks happen. It's good to hear these stories, the human element to some of this, to some of the sporting nonsense as it is. It was fun. I thank you so much, Jake, for being able to get that for us this afternoon.
So a couple things that jump out to me, and you kind of touched on one a few moments ago. I always wonder what it's like, because it's starting to happen more and more. You're getting young English players that are coming over here. And spending some time either in USL or in some cases MLS. And I've always wondered what it's like for them to make that decision, coming from a country where the game is so ingrained in their culture, to not, if you don't get picked up by a club's academy or something like that, it's almost like, I don't know, like this kind of almost seems like a lifeline. Like, to us, it's great. Like, these are talented young guys coming over. But for them, I always wondered if they view it the same way, or if in some cases, because you see sometimes when players go out on loan or when they signing, they're like, once I got my head around it, because it's a big deal. First of all, you're leaving your country, but you're going from a country where they probably had hopes and dreams at some point of getting to the Premier League or playing in the Champions League, and now it's like, not to knock soccer in the U.S., but let's be honest, it's not at the same position. It's not the same level. It's not at the same status as it is in England or other European countries. And then the other thing I thought of was, he moved from England to Georgia in August. How do you not get off the plane and go, nope, take me back? Take me back. What is that giant bug? Take me back.
I think my favorite part about that from from a nerdy standpoint is like, I don't even know what Georgia is. And I'm like, oh man. That poor soul. That was a bad day in August, man.
Like, there's a reason they filmed The Walking Dead in Georgia. And it's not because it's a pleasant place to be in the summer. Like, that's when they film it. Look at all those people. They look awful.
Oh, man.
You know, it's like when we talked to Caleb at the beginning of last year, and he's like, oh, yeah, the weather's great right now. We were at the kickoff party, and it's like, well, it was breezy and cool. And he's like, but the guys tell me, you know, it warms up a little bit. And we're like, yeah, it warms up a little bit.
Just to say, just a smidgen.
So the one thing I wanted to bring up, because this is something you and I have talked about, and honestly, Rowdies fans have kind of debated this one back and forth.
Here we go.
Straight from his mouth, and it's, you know, we talked about it last year on the show that they had that great cup run, but there was obviously a hangover when it came to their league form, and he flat out says it impacted our ability to play in the league. So while Rowdies fans may have been jealous at that point of them playing Atlanta and you know, going deeper in the cup, he was more jealous at the end of the year watching teams in the playoffs. And this reminds me that at some point we'll get Forrest Lasso on, but I want to ask him the same question, because they had that run. He was with Cincinnati when they made that run, if I remember, and they ultimately, I think, like just squeaked into the playoffs that year, or they missed it completely. I forget. But it's a serious thing, and this is one of those things where I don't want to say I told you so, but we're hearing it from a guy on the other side of the game from us, as in on the active side, saying, not that he's advocating one way or the other, but, you know, it was great in the moment, but in the end, it sounds like he kind of wished they had more success in the league.
Well, here's my monkey wrench to that argument. What if there basically was no bonuses for the U.S. Open Cup? It's just a chance for exposure, but playoff actually is a potential bigger bonus on contract for actual money in your pocket. I'm just saying that would be a heck of an incentive to say, you know, I really wish we had gone to the playoffs instead of making the Open Cup run, because that would also money
require,
lost potentially.
That also required the league to be distributing some kind of cash bonus for playoff qualification and having some kind of playoff pot that we've talked about before. Maybe the USLPA can work on that.
Yeah, but individual clubs, I mean, even every professional team in every sport has individual performance goals, team goals, and things like that. So that's an industry thing. Sporting industry has that built in. So I can imagine that league playoffs are probably a bigger individual bonus as far as for players themselves than an Open Cup run. So I could see the perspective of wanting to make a better or a bigger playoff or regular season push, because the payout individually is better. The exposure, of course, is awesome from Open Cup, playing against that higher level. But I hear where you're going with that. I mean, obviously, it's he said it himself. You know, he wishes he had rather done a bigger playoff push, and that is the big argument. That's the big discussion. Does it really screw you up that much? You know, why does it screw you up that much? I think for me, that's a bigger question, is like, is the problem more or less from a coaching and team captain perspective of not being able to pump your guys up for regular season games when you're in the middle of a deeper run in the Open Cup? I wonder if that's part of the issue, where they just can't carry that same passion into regular season games. Because you look at like a St. Louis last year, they were playing these MLS teams and they looked good. They looked good doing it.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden they go against, you know, Charlotte or whatever, and they look like trash. And it didn't make sense when you saw it that way. But so I don't know if it's necessarily just a problem of trying to the two-headed snake as far as that is, or I don't know. I'm not really sure if there's necessarily a right or wrong answer on all of this, but it's still an interesting perspective. I think this is a debate that will forever be. I'll be honest. You know what my biggest takeaway from that interview was?
What's that?
how very stringent he was about the level of play between an MLS first team and, say, an MLS backup team or USL team, where, you know, the idea that somehow USL is close or could be close. Remember what I've always said from the beginning. If an MLS team wants to beat a USL team, they will put they'll put first 11 out there, and they will crush every USL championship team out there any day of the week. That's always been the case, and that's because the difference is that high, which ties into what a lot of the discussions we've had over the last several months. Things like player movement. You know, why do players from USL Championship don't get to go to MLS very often? Well, there's a reason for that, and it's because the talent level and the deepness of it is really that drastic for most of these players. There's not a lot of players in USL that are going to jump into a starting 11 on most MLS teams. I know a lot of people dream for that to be happening. It might happen one day, but we're nowhere close to that right now.
So we'll keep trying to get some more interviews and bring some of these new guys in. So do a little getting to know you stuff. But right now we're gonna go in to some of the rest of the other notable league news, which honestly at this point we should just rename former Rowdy news, because a lot of it is that we found notable just involved some former Rowdy players. If you didn't see it already on Twitter last week, David Najim has been picked up by New Mexico. So best wishes to David out there. Sounds like he'll have a good time.
Yay, he's not on an Eastern Conference rival team. I'm so happy for David Najim.
The USL's kind of in-house podcast with low-key friend of the pods, Kelsey Steele and Scott Stewart kind of released a new episode for the season. It was just kind of the audio from a video portion, a video segment they had put up on the USL site earlier, talking about the top 5 off-season signings. They both gave their top 5. They also listed some buzzworthy signings that were maybe just outside the top 5, and then did the best remaining free agents available. 2 Rowdies made the list. Our guy we just talked to, Lewis Hilton, coming in as number 4. Evan Loro as number 2. The Lasso signing got a buzzworthy, like an honorable mention. So in comparison, at least, especially to last season and in some previous seasons, there's some expectations outside of our fan base, outside of us locally, that are starting to build around this team. Like last year, they kind of went under the radar. They were kind of low key as far as coming off a season where they missed the playoffs. Not a ton of expectations, not a huge amount of people talking about the Rowdies, but this year's going to be a little bit different, and we'll see how they deal with that. One of the things we were talking about before the show came on was kind of the differences in maybe the approach to signings from last year to this year. Like last year, they went after some younger players, some young guys, brought back in like a group of former Rowdies that were a good group to build around. But this year, it seems that they've gone out and they've made it kind of a point to bring in, I don't want to say veteran as in old, but because most of these guys I think are still around 26 is where everyone seemed to be. Yeah. But guys who have had leadership experience in the teams they've been on, whether it's Lasso with Cincinnati and Charleston before that, whether it's Lewis Hilton in St. Louis and Charlotte before that. Like these are guys who are they've got minutes in the league, but they've also got minutes leading their team in some role, it seems, too, on field and off. So that's going to be that kind of mentality is probably going to be needed. They said on I was listening to Steal Some Time, and they said, get used to it. This is a team we're going to be talking about a lot this year.
Well, I mean, that's because we're the front office's favorite team. I mean, everybody knows that the Rowdies and the USL front office are, just tied at the hip, and they just love each other. And
yeah,
so
I got my key card for the private bar and theater room at USL headquarters that they gave out to just us. So
yeah, exactly.
We'll use that.
Where do you think? We tell you that we're recording these from our homes in separate sides of the bay, but what you don't know, just saying.
It would be fun to do a show from there sometime.
Probably could.
Just saying. The other move that I saw recently, Caleb Richards out on loan again. Not to a U.S. side this time, but has gone to Yeoviltown in the National League, if I recall correctly. Really have no idea how that compares to a loan move to the Tampa Bay Rowdies, but regardless of what happens, wish him success in the upcoming season. Hope things work out for him. Anything else we want to throw in? Talk about the mob stuff. I meant to put it in here in the notes and I forgot about it. I'll give that to you.
Oh, so on Sunday, don't forget, if you're part of the Skyway Casuals or if you're part of the Ralph's Mob, there is still, from what I understand, I believe a few spots left still open for either of those teams for the Matched Pairs charity foot golf tournament. They are raising the funds for Go Gold. So that is the impression for, or that is the effort for this. There is tons of prize potential, though, from different sponsors that the Ralph's Mob and Skyway have picked up for that event, including the fact that, yes, this little old D2 supporter group competition actually has a chance for somebody to win a brand new car. One of the holes on the course, if you get a hole in one, you actually win a brand new 2020
Oh, is it?
vehicle.
It's a hole in one on a specific hole.
It's a hole in one on a specific hole.
I had read it as like a hole in one at all, and I was like,
no,
what if like five people get a holes in one?
Yeah, no, not quite that easy, but
first come, first serve, huh?
But still, that's an amazing, sponsor potential storyline there. Like
that's huge. The stuff they've been tweeting out, and I've been retweeting it. I'm still waiting to find out what's going on with my weekend, whether or not I can go or not, and whether or not there's still tickets left by the time I know for sure. Yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun, and I
can't wait.
The mob tweet out today that there's going to be some special guests. I'm going to assume maybe we've got some players coming, possibly.
Probably.
We'll see what happens.
Probably.
So, if your car is a piece of crap, and it'll only get you there, do it.
$20.
Try and win the car you can drive yourself home in.
Yeah, it's like a little $20 ticket. You could buy yourself a car. You never know. You never know.
I'm just saying. And then both supporter groups have put their like membership packages out there for the 2020 season. You can check them out on Twitter, online. But I gotta say, first off, I thought when the mob was tweeting the pictures of the hat, that it was going to be something they had found, one that was in like good shape, which is incredibly hard to do, and that was going to be maybe a silent auction thing or something at the golf tournament. But no. It's going to be part. It's one of the different levels of the paid memberships. If you choose to pay for the membership, there's the scarf. It's the hat, but with the mob logo on it. And there's a flag this year too. Yes,
they're bringing back a flag.
Like so we kind of, one of the things that we've always done as a show is we've been we're friendly with everybody, but we've always remained independent from the groups. I'm tempted now to just like buy a membership in both.
Yeah, I'm almost there too.
Maybe.
I'm almost there too.
I kind of think I want the hat. The sky, dude. That glitch scarf looks fantastic. The Skyway scarf looks fantastic.
Can I just say, for everybody that's in the Tampa Bay soccer supporter community, I love all of you. I love all of you. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you're at. If you're listening to the show, if you're not listening to the show, I love all of you. I really do, because I'm getting really pumped for the Rowdy season to start here. Get it to me. Get it. Feed it to me. Get it in my veins. I'm ready to start singing on the terraces.
Like, there's just so much cool stuff going on. I just had to hit the mute button on the mixer board because I was not going to stop myself from cursing there. There is so much cool stuff going on around, and like, we haven't even gotten to the part yet where the supporter section is rebuilt. Like, that's coming after the preseason, after the Suncoast Invitational stuff. I know, like, I'm just I'm ready. I need March to get here.
Oh man.
I'm making these Miami plans in my head, and I think I'm turning it into a long weekend where I go to the Keys for a little bit, and it's just get here.
And honestly, I'm not even plugging for the team at all in terms of, I've not been asked to say this, so don't get me wrong. I'm not selling out anything. You listen here, you people.
#shill.
If you haven't got a season ticket for the Rowdies this year, for the love of all things holy, please do it, because let's really rock this thing out. I really want to see a solid supporter section all year long.
But if you're getting one with the idea of reselling the majority of your tickets, then don't do that. I learned that. I not personal experience, but I did my my season ticket holder agreement where I said I would not resell the majority of my tickets.
Ah, nice.
I clicked OK without barely reading most of it.
There it is. You sold your soul to the devil.
Oh well.
You're now owned by the USL.
Hey, I was going there anyway. All right, let's wrap this up. We love yous. Who do you got?
I've got Jake. Jake, thank you. We love you. We love everything you do for us, even though you live up 10 miles away. Thank you so much. That was a great interview. We love having you help out when me and Matt are at work and we can't arrange sometimes these radio interviews at a dime. Thank you. We love you.
The other good thing, and this is going to sound kind of bad, like I genuinely love the interviews, but I have to listen to them before we put them on, because usually during the interview is like, oh, I can run to the bathroom real quick, because like I just got home like in an hour and a half before the show started. I had to update I haven't done anything. I'm trying to you're watching me scarf down some dinner real quick in between while I listen to it again, but it's nice to have that break. That's what when Dan and I did the show at the Den, we always tried to get an interview. Just because one of us would have to run off to the bathroom at some point because we've been there eating and drinking since like 6 o'clock in the evening. It's the little things, man. But yeah, it was a great interview, and it was perfectly timed that I could eat some dinner, which was very important to me. I have nothing else to add to the We Love You. I'm going to second that as well. Good job, Jake.
And with that, thank you, Wolfface, for providing our amazing intro music. Thank you to Radio St. Pete for giving us an opportunity to put our platform out there. Shamrock Pub, thank you very much. We always love visiting you guys and getting a chance to do the shows live every now and then down there.
Thanks to all you guys who continue to find time in your schedule to listen to us for whatever reason you could possibly have. Thank you all you guys who share, subscribe, rate, and review the show in all these different outlets so that more people have a chance to ruin an hour of their evening with us as well. Stephen, if people would like to help us out in other ways, how could they do that?
There's no doubt about it right now. The best way that you can support the show, all of us that are participating in making the website and the show what it is, Patreon is the best way to do it. You can set up as little as $1 a month. Every dollar helps, and all of it gets put into the show directly in some form or fashion. The max offer that we even have out there is a $10 a month. If you feel so inclined to helping us to that degree, that's amazing. But every little bit helps. It really does.
Yeah, if you want to be like Mike and get your name as an executive producer credit at the beginning of the show, that $10 option is out there for you. Thanks, as always, to our continuing sponsor, Roughneck Scarves, the official scarf supplier to MLS, USL, and US Soccer. Do you need an MLS scarf to cover up that hideous new jersey that they just put out there? Go to Roughneck Scarves. You can also get custom scarves for your group or team at roughneckscarves.com. And we have a new sponsor. I say we like we actually went out and did the work. This is all through Beautiful Game Network. They set this up. It's a great deal for us. It's actual soccer-related groups that we like, and they help us out at the each year with some funding as well. Stephen, tell us about our new, and welcome to our new sponsor.
Yes, but why would you break the illusion like that? Of course we did all the work to get these guys. If you really are tired, if MLS put out tonight the full scream of jerseys that they like to say are some throwback or something amazingness. No.
Like
If you're
training
tired
kits.
of same old uniforms, if you're tired of these cookie cutter templates from these bigger companies, you're looking for something unique, custom, whether it's youth club, Sunday league, adult, or even if you're running a pro team and you're listening to the show or about to start a pro team, Icarus FC can help you create the kit of your dreams at an affordable price. Let them help you design your new custom kit today at IcarusFC.com.
Welcome, Icarus. Thank you. We appreciate it. We know they do some pretty cool stuff. I believe, if I remember correctly, Evan from USL show, and he does a Philadelphia Union podcast as well too. Views from the Bridge. He didn't do a scarf for their show, but they did, I think, in collaboration with Icarus, a custom jersey for their podcast that people could buy. And I'm not saying I got ideas.
Oh, you listen here.
But I got ideas.
Careful, Icarus.
I'm just saying. I don't know. I'm thinking about what we're doing this year. I still have a ton of scars from last year and a couple from the year before. So I'm kind of getting the signal that maybe the scarf market is saturated. Maybe we need to do something different. Maybe a jersey. I don't know if anyone would be interested in that. We'd have to see what the demand would be. I want one. I know that. We'd have to wait and see what's out there. All right, we will. It feels like we're kind of like unexpectedly just getting back into the every week routine. Now that training camp's open, there'll be some more signings announced too, and there'll be some results from preseason games to go over as well. And they'll start to actually mean something when we're not playing colleges and youth teams. But it's good experience for everybody involved. So pay attention to our social feeds, but I bet we would likely be on again next week, especially if we can nail down another interview. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge, know what I mean? If you're listening, Mike, we can set that up, hopefully. Steven, it's been a blast.
Yes, it has been a blast. This weekend, don't forget, the Rowdies are going to be traveling to Jacksonville. They're going to be playing the UNF Ospreys for the first open preseason game. It is free admission. Kickoff is at 1:30 in the afternoon. I don't think I work this weekend. I might actually try and do that on Saturday just for giggles.
I thought about it. I seriously thought about going to this competition because it would be like an hour and 15 minutes away from Jacksonville. And I was like, but I'm taking this weekend off because I have to go to Orlando next week. And that's just a lot of, I got to build up my resistance for that. So we will talk to you guys on Wednesday. Steven, I'll talk to you sometime in the near future, as we often do. Let's take it out of here.
Go Rowdies.
Yoo-hoo!
The Rowdies were here, the Rowdies were there, they kicked the wall.